Okay, let's talk about the Kotoka International Airport.
You want to start with me?
I want to start with you.
No
Should it
problem
be changed or not?
at all, because it's very simple. It's long overdue. I mean, names have a meaning. Anywhere I've been to this world, the very thing that I do is to research about names that have been given to places. So you go to South Africa, you have Tambo Airport. Straight away, you have to find out who the Tambo is. And you see that he was someone who fought against apartheid. The nation recognizes his efforts in that direction. You go to Nigeria, you have Murtala Muhammad. They will tell you that Murtala Muhammad was a first striker. He fought against military dictatorship and so on and so on. Nnamdi Azikiwe, it gives you an indication as to where the country wants to go. You come to Ghana, our first point of call, and the name is Kotoka International Airport. Now, we have been priding ourselves, and not that we have been priding ourselves. If you go visit any major museum around the world, be it in the US or so, one name that stands out from Africa and for that matter Ghana is Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. So if the world recognizes the importance of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in affairs of humanity, in affairs of governance, in affairs of politics, and we have been eulogizing him, and you come to Ghana and the first name you hear is Kotoka, and someone who is a tourist goes to research about Kotoka, and the only achievement that he has is that he was successfully able to overthrow Kwame Nkrumah. Then what sort of country are we? What are we preaching out? That in one breath you see Nkrumah as your hero, in another breath you see the one that overthrew him also as a hero. It does not work. So I believe that immediately that name should have been off our radar long ago. Okay. And if they are doing it today, I have no problem.
The UP party is happy with the decision.
Well, the UP party, as a matter of fact, has not met to take a decision. But from my point,
individually,
I believe that it is worth it. And let me add that it is the only the reasons being assigned that I don't like. That the land is for Accra, so it has to be Accra. No. You know, in the past, I heard one of the communicators say that because you are on Ghana land, it has to be Ghana. When Ohinijan's sports stadium, Accra sports stadium, I'm coming back. And why we do certain things to ourselves that we must rethink. Ohinijan was a colossus when it came to Ghana football and sports. So the Accra sports stadium was named after Ohinijan. We had some people who said that because Ohinijan's name wasn't a Ghana, it has to be changed. And indeed, they succeeded in reversing it back to Accra sports stadium. That was wrong. Let's honor those that have contributed immensely to our body politic.
Okay.
And reward them as such.
Kojo?
You see, for me, that's why when my brother said that I wanted us to talk about it in the middle of talking about farmers, and I laughed. Because I felt that of all the problems the government has, inability to pay cocoa farmers, the backsliding of the economy, all the problems that are coming up in the country now, I think the least of the problems the government wanted to attend to, right, was a change of name of our airport, which actually comes with a cost, right? I've seen Evans do a program talking about some countries have gone as much as $10 million in changing names, because it has a lot of implication when you change a name of an airport, as international as it is. IATA, everybody has to now make changes and all that. But the point is it necessary now? Is this something that, with all the things that we are faced with, is it one of the priorities? Look, history is important. And today we look back on it and everybody says, that, oh, the only thing that Kotoka is known for is a coup. But then let's juxtapose ourselves to the era before the coup, right? Some people then felt liberated, right? There was a system in place that some people at the time, I wasn't born, right? But there were people who lived at the time that felt oppressed. There were people that lived at the time that felt that we had a one-party state. And Nkrumah had put certain policies in place that they were not happy with. Be it true or not true, at that point, we have seen the videos when we were growing up of how the jubilation across the country was, how his statues were pulled down, all that we saw, right? We are now 50, 60 years down the line trying to rewrite history and say that one person who was seen as a hero today is a villain. Because then, if you see the jubilation, everybody, not I won't say everybody, but most people with the videos that you saw at the time felt that the country has been liberated. That's why they call their movement the Liberation People's whatever, right? So I honestly think that of all the things that we could do as a nation, Kotoka has a role to play in our history.
Okay.
Do you have to now rename an airport? Does it take away his name? No, it doesn't, because he played a role. Are we trying to make it look like he's a villain? Then you are trying to rewrite history, because at the point in time when the action was done, some people held him as a hero.
Okay.
So, look, posterity is here, okay? Everybody, depending which side of the aisle you stand. I have always said that the NDC is a CPP-style party, and it's really the CPP coming back to basically draw their last blood. They have felt that this is the time that the CPP in them is showing that they want to now erase Kotoka from the memories of Ghana because of what he did to the CPP party in 1966. But really and truly, is it the right thing to do at this point in time when we have a mirage of problems facing the country? Okay. I think it's not.
Okay.
There are other, oh, my brother, please.
Solomon, I want to hear Dr. Zaato when Kojo lands.
So, look, for me, it's much ado about nothing. Kotoka is part of our history. It doesn't have to be anybody coming to see his name to go and Google it. We had the situation in America where people were going around trying to change all the Confederacy army, right? Trying to make it look like, oh, these Confederacy people, blah, blah, blah. And at a point, it was stopped because you cannot erase history. And the most important thing is that we need to let the kids appreciate. You can call a hero a villain when posterity is pregnant in the womb of time. But look, we were not there. Nobody on this table was there at the time, right? So we have to just take it.
They should leave it, right?
No, I'm not saying leave it, but is it really?
It's not a priority.
Exactly.
Okay, Dr. Zaato.
Thank you. The question is, why are we changing names? Or why do we feel that Kotoka doesn't deserve to have his name at the airport? Why? Just one reason and one reason only. He was a coup maker, that's it. He overthrew a democratically elected government. And precisely because that is his cardinal sin, that is the fundamental sin. And because he overthrew a democratically elected government, the argument is that he doesn't deserve to have any national monument named after him. That is all. I want us to understand that is the reason why. Okay, so if you take that logic forward, what we are simply saying is that people who have engaged in coup d'etats do not then deserve to have any national monument named after them. If you extrapolate that logic. John Rawlings did a coup. He did a second one. John Rawlings is a serial coup d'etat. John Rawlings gave birth to the NDC. John Rawlings formed the NDC. You see the hypocrisy I'm talking about? Products of the people who are today in power because of a coup maker, because of a serial coup, are now bastardizing or denying coup makers a national monument. Are we then saying that henceforth that John Rawlings does not deserve any national monument in this country because he's a serial coup maker? Is that the argument? He overthrew Dr. Helalema, who was a democratically elected president of this country. And then he also overthrew Achampong. Whatever happens, are we saying precisely because he also overthrew a democratic government that going forward, whether he wants it or not, that 10, as he said, when this is what happened, none of us were born, are we saying 50 years, 100 years down the line, no Ghanaians can get up and say, you know what, despite that, because see, the thing is that even though John Rawlings was a serial coup maker, we can also then say that his history is kind of complex. You can then look at the pluses and the positives. And then you can say that based on everything else, as a country, we can look beyond that and go ahead and honor him for some other things he has done. We can do that, we should do that. Now, are you saying that we shouldn't do that going forward? that 50 years than 100 years than this country should never go back and say, when we do a cost-benefit, or we do based on the preponderance of the evidence, we shouldn't honor this man. And that, I believe, is what is beginning to happen here. And that, for me, is the problem. Okay. Change names by all means. Do that. But if the reason is because the guy is a coup maker, but you are the products of a coup maker, and then are you firmly saying that John Rawlings, just like you are trying to erase Kotoka from history, should also be erased from history? Is that the argument?
Is that a good place to land? Let's get some answers from Hamza.
MFA, first of all, good morning.
You have said good morning, no?
To Dr. Nyahu Tomaklo.
Okay.
I know he's monitoring. One important figure of our politics who continues to be a guide to some of us. Now, MFA, to sit around this table and pretend that I am privy to all the facts behind the decision of government to rename Kotoka would be a lie. Just like you, the information came to my knowledge when the committee met with the majority leader in Parliament. And it is also part of the many promises this government made that upon assumption of office, the quite questionable naming exercise under the previous administration would be reversed. If you remember, in the last 8 years, those who are around this table today questioning the significance of naming state institutions or renaming used a greater chunk of their term in office to rename many state institutions, including educational institutions, with not just citizens who had distinguished themselves in terms of service to the national cause, but citizens who decided in their own diction or understanding, that is the MPP, who served the MPP well. So you go to Tamale today, Tamale International Airport has been named after Yakubu Tali, a founding member of the New Patriotic Party. Then you go to SG Dombo, University for Development Studies, SG Dombo University. So that was, today those who are around this table questioning the significance of naming and name, that was what they used a significant term to do, naming of state institutions.
Who are around this table have questioned that?
But you see, you said the government has so much to do and to be concerned about naming. They did it under you didn't talk. Yeah. So when you do those things, when you do things intending to color your political party, and the government reverses it, not to its own founding member names, but to the traditional names of these institutions, I think that we need to commend government.
That said, let's address Dr. Zaato.
To the Kotoka International Airport. Sometimes when you listen to my brothers from the MPP, you wonder, especially those who speak for them now, whether they actually take time to understand the history and principles of the party they represent.
Are you responding to Dr. Zaato?
Yes, I'm representing.
But
do you remember the 31st December case?
Yes. Yeah.
What was the foundational principles of that case that the MPP took to court? It was about the celebration of 31st as a national holiday. And the arguments they advanced in that case was to the effect that it would be injurious to the Ghanaian brand and an affront to the 1992 Constitution for this country to continue to honor the 31st December celebration in the form of a national celebration. And that the spirit of the 1992 Constitution abhors coup d'etats. And we must not do anything to glorify coup makers under that Constitution. You remember?
I do.
The Supreme Court respected their arguments and agreed tentatively with them that the 1992 Constitution abhors coup d'etats. And so in our engagements, we must ensure that we abhor the practice of glorifying coup makers under that Constitution. Today, even if the reason for the decision to rename Kotoka because he was a coup maker, and we cannot have, because the Kotoka International Airport is the gateway to Ghana. So even if the reason is based on the premise that he's a coup maker and we cannot have it, it is in tandem with the very arguments the MPP advanced in the 31st December case. Have you lost your history?
You are making a mistake. There is a fake MPP, there is a virtual MPP.
Absolutely. I'm now beginning to. Have you when you were speaking? I was
no, don't interrupt. I didn't interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you. Did I interrupt?
Let me make my point.
I want to come along with him because I want to see where he's going.
I also want to see where he's going. I also want to see. Let's see where you're going.
So that point needs to be made. that the arguments they made, so they should be actually those calling for the renaming of Kotoka. They should be those defending it in line with the principles the party stood for in the 31st December case. Now he made references to His Excellency retired John Rawlings and made the point that Rawlings shouldn't be glorified. Interestingly, it was the MPP. Again, another betrayal of the principles they stood for. They made a proposal to former President John Rawlings to have the University for Development Studies named after him. You remember that? President Rawlings of blessed memory resisted that invitation and said that he was not interested in being named after any state institution. Remember? His was one of dedicated service. And that it should end there. That is the kind of personality we are talking about. And mind you, Rawlings didn't end as a dictator. He had the opportunity of not just being a Democrat, but ushering us to a democratic dispensation. And when he ushered us to that democracy, he made one promise. Unlike we have had in the past, one of his fundamental responsibilities to the good people of this country is to ensure that this democracy endures. And this is so far the longest, the most, that's the appropriate word to, the most enduring democratic dispensation under the Ghanaian system since we became independent. Is that not a fact? Another legacy. So even this democracy we are celebrating today is the legacy of Flight Lieutenant John Rawlings and those who came together to let him appreciate the relevance of democracy even as a military man.
But we also moved.
And there are NPP elements
did we not?
who must also take credit because they also supported getting Rawlings there.
We would have had the fall. We would have continued.
And so this, you cannot write about the legacy
in a vacuum. He overthrew a democracy. He overthrew a democracy.
So understand your political party before you come on this show. You need to understand what your political party stands for.
You overthrew a democracy. When
I come on this show,
the man was a democratic government.
When I come on this, no. I was on the phone.
No. You can't call for a break. You don't say we should celebrate one coup maker, but we should celebrate one coup maker.
Was I not the one on the floor? Calm down. Was I not the one on the floor?
I don't make a point.
Let me finish my point. When you are speaking,
it's important that at some point you know that you must land. And
so, but you tell me to.
No.
So give us the time. Give us the time.
I'll make you a promise. If I give you time, you must know that there's going to be a day that a matter is more important to one of you here than all of you. And you cannot have equal time.
It doesn't matter.
You would know. It does. It can be equal time. Land and let me go to that.
Yes, so make a point. Let me make no.
I'll allow you to continue. I'll allow you to continue.
Let me make a point, please.
Oh. How can you let him interrupt me midway?
Please.
And you expect me to respect that? I can't respect that. No.
It is to what you
When they were speaking, I didn't interrupt them.
What you are saying. Please.
Is he the host of the program?
I'm very surprised.
I wouldn't take this.
I
wouldn't take this.
Point of correction.
No. When I finish, you can come in and make me they give you time.
You continue.
No, and I'm telling you that I'm protesting.
Why are you? Yes, you can.
See, when I appear on this platform and I'm calm,
I'll take a break.
it's not because of what you people do here.